Title: The Mender's Curse. In the city of Eldergrove, where the boundary between the mundane and the mystical blurred like mist over the river, magic was as much a part of daily life as breath itself. It coursed through the veins of the city, flowing in whispers and sparks, shaping the lives of those who lived there. Some wielded magic to heal, others to harm, but for one particular group of men, magic wasn't just a gift or a curse, it was their salvation and their tragedy. One of them was Seelan, a young man with hair as dark as the storm clouds that often gathered over Eldergrove, and eyes the color of deep sapphire. His features were delicate, almost feminine, and his pale skin, though unmarked by the sun, held an ethereal beauty that many found captivating. Yet, despite the allure of his appearance, Seelan's heart was heavy with a sorrow that no one could see except for the ones who knew the weight of his magic. Seelan was a mender, a healer who used his magic to stitch the broken and mend the torn. But the power to heal others came at a cost, an unbearable cost that had left him hollow inside. Every time he healed someone, his own soul bled a little more. The magic was beautiful, but it was also intimate, drawing out something deep within him that was impossible to return. And over time, it had started to twist his own heart, hollowing him out like a fragile porcelain doll. It was a life he couldn't escape from. The city needed menders. People came to him for all manner of ailments: broken bones, shattered hearts, and even more insidious injuries of the soul. Seelan had once believed that he could save everyone, but now he simply did it because there was no other choice. The need, the desperate requests for his magic, never ceased. And neither did the weight of the curse that grew heavier with each passing day. One evening, after the sun had dipped behind the hills and the silver moon bathed the city in its cool light, Seelan found himself standing in the market square, waiting for the last of his clients to leave. The square was quieter now, the air thick with the scent of damp stone and rain that had yet to fall. He had been working late into the evening as usual. The work was draining, but the toll it took on his body wasn't the worst part. It was the emptiness inside that never seemed to fade. As he gathered his things, he caught sight of someone standing just beyond the market stall, a figure cloaked in shadow, watching him from the distance. His heart, already heavy, skipped a beat as their eyes met. The figure stepped forward, revealing the sharp features of a young man, his face soft with delicate beauty, yet marred by a sadness that Seelan could feel even from a distance. His name was Ilias. Ilias was a fellow magic user, though not a mender like Seelan. His magic, a wild and unruly form of elemental control, was as devastating as it was beautiful. He had the ability to summon the winds, control the rain, and shape fire as if it were clay. But it came with a price. His power burned through him, leaving him weak and sickly, his body constantly at war with itself. The more he used his magic, the more his body deteriorated, as though the magic itself was devouring him from the inside out. Like Seelan, Ilias had a curse of his own, one that left him fragile, a sad, wilting version of the vibrant spirit he once was. The two had met years ago, under different circumstances, but their bond had formed from the shared pain of their respective afflictions. They were kindred souls, both bound to magic they could never escape, both bound to their own tragic fates. "I didn't expect to find you here," Ilias said, his voice a soft rasp, though it carried the weight of something deep and profound. His silver-gray eyes were tired, but there was an intensity in them that made Seelan's chest tighten. Seelan gave a small, bitter smile. "Where else would I be? The people always need something." Ilias nodded but didn't smile back. He was used to Seelan's melancholy, but it never made it easier to bear. He stepped closer, close enough that Seelan could feel the heat of his body, despite the chill in the air. He wanted to say something, but the words caught in his throat. They had danced around each other for years, caught in this web of mutual understanding and longing, but neither had dared to break the silence that kept them from touching, from crossing that line they both so desperately wanted to cross. "I was hoping to see you," Ilias said finally, his voice a little quieter, more vulnerable. I need your help, Seelan." Seelan looked up, startled. "Help? What's happened? I've been using my magic again, Elias said with a sigh, brushing his fingers through his messy silver hair. And I'm fading again. My body, it's too weak. I can't keep doing this alone. Seelan's heart skipped in his chest. He knew what Elias meant. Every time Elias called on his magic, it pulled at his life force, drained him like a slow, cruel poison. He'd seen it before. He'd watched Elias grow thinner, weaker, as his power consumed him from the inside out. I'm not sure if I can do anything for you, Seelan said, his voice tight with guilt. You know what my magic costs. I know, Elias interrupted gently, stepping even closer, his breath warm against Seelan's cheek. I know what it costs. But I don't care anymore, Seelan. I can't do this without you. You're the only one who's ever really understood. The words hung in the air between them like a fragile thread, stretching tighter with every second. Seelan's heart hammered in his chest, and his breath faltered as Elias reached out, his fingers brushing lightly against Seelan's arm. The touch was electric, sparking a warmth that spread through Seelan's body, reminding him of everything he had been trying to forget. He wanted to pull away, to protect himself from the inevitable pain, but he couldn't. Not this time. Elias, you don't have to do this, Seelan whispered, his voice breaking. You don't have to drag me down with you. I already have, Elias said softly, his voice low and almost trembling. I'm already lost. But with you, maybe I can find something. Even if it's just for a moment. The world seemed to hold its breath as Seelan's resolve began to crumble. He could see the pain in Elias's eyes, the same pain that mirrored his own, and for a moment, it didn't matter that they were both cursed by the magic they wielded. It didn't matter that their lives were both slipping through their fingers like sand. All that mattered was that in this moment, they were here, together. Without another word, Seelan closed the distance between them, pulling Elias into his arms. The kiss was slow at first, hesitant, as if both of them were afraid it would vanish the moment they gave into it. But then the tension broke, and Seelan kissed him harder, deeper, feeling the heat of Elias's body press against his own. Elias's hands tangled in his hair, pulling him closer, as if afraid Seelan might slip away again. Magic sparked between them, wild, untamed. It wasn't the healing magic that Seelan had used to mend bones and hearts, but something darker, more intimate. The kind of magic that could only be conjured by longing, by desire, by the breaking of two souls who had nothing left to lose. And in that moment, they forgot everything. The curses, the pain, the fading life force that threatened to pull them apart. In that moment, they were just two lost souls, wrapped in the heat of their magic, entwined in the soft, desperate magic of each other's bodies. When they finally pulled away, both breathless and trembling, they lay in the quiet of the market square, the weight of the world lifting, if only for a moment. But Seelan knew it wouldn't last. Magic, like love, was a fleeting thing, beautiful and heartbreaking in its transience. But maybe, just maybe, they could find something in the brief space between the curse and the salvation. Something worth holding on to. For now, that was enough.